All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Checking Out Majors with Grace. I'm your host, Grace Brummett, and I'm here joined with...
Dr. Taten Albright.
Yes, thank you for coming on here. So I want to start off by asking a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So your last name is Albright.
Albright.
Do you have any connections in Snyder, Texas?
No, so I'm a transplant. I'm from Idaho, so...
Oh, okay.
No.
I was asking because there was a lot of Albrights in my high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought you had connections.
So it's possible, though, because
Yeah.
I don't know much of my Albright side of the family. My dad, his parents passed away when he was really young, so he bounced family to family, and he was weird. He's the only child of his parents, but he had tons of half siblings, so he doesn't even know most of his siblings.
Oh, okay.
So it's possible.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of associated it with it.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to ask, but I never got the chance to, so I was like, this is the perfect opportunity.
Heck yeah.
So all the way from Idaho?
Idaho.
Why are you in San Angelo? Why?
So that got asked when I applied for the job, and it's multifaceted. I always wanted to teach. That's always been my goal. After my first intro to social work class, and I was just inspired. I was like, I want to do that someday. I want to do the mental health therapy, but I want to inspire. And so my goal has always been to teach. But then my wife's mom moved down to Copper's Cove, and we wanted to be closer to her. So that's about 3 hours away, close to Colleen.
Okay,
and
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's right outside of Fort Hood, Fort Cavazos now.
Oh,
and so
okay.
we get to go see her, but we're here in Texas. But my family's back in Idaho.
Oh.
But it's all worked out.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's all worked out. It's been great.
Okay, that's good. So what was the weather, how was the weather change? Because I'm pretty sure in Idaho it's freezing, right?
Yes.
So...
Yep.
How have you been, did you get sick the first time you were here? Because I know, the weather change can sometimes mess with people's illnesses.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't get sick, but
Okay.
it was a shock. When we pulled into San Angelo, we'd left Idaho because we moved August of 2023. And we moved down here, and it was warm in Idaho. It was 70, 80s degree, and people were like, man, it's getting hot.
Yeah.
And we pulled into San Angelo, and it's 116, and I'm dying, and they're like, yeah, it's gonna get worse. It's oh, cool.
Okay,
cool,
great,
cool,
can't
cool.
wait.
Prepare for the next month of our life.
You're going to be living in an oven. This is great.
Yeah, exactly. And then we saw snow for the first time down here, and we're like, awesome, some snow, and this town shut down. It's just been interesting.
Huh, wow. I probably would have gotten sick, honestly. I'm surprised you didn't. You are blessed.
Blessed.
So...
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, but now I feel when it's cold, I'm shaking like a chihuahua.
Yes.
My body's acclimated, and it's 50 degrees. I'm I need a blanket, I need a sweater.
Yes, me too.
It's awful.
Me too. And then, it's cold outside, but also I feel as though inside of the buildings are also cold.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go into the UC, and it's sprinkling, water. It's raining outside, and then inside it's also really cold. So I'm okay,
Yeah.
I just can't win.
No, we're
There's
done.
just no winning. Great, awesome. But now it's been really hot, but now it's getting back in the cold. It's just very.
The fluctuation's a lot, yeah.
It's very crazy. So when was the first year you started working at Angelo State? You said it was in 2023?
Yeah, so August of 2023.
So that's kind of recent.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I'm just barely, not even to the 2-year mark, but this fall will be 2 years officially.
Huh. Wow. So why did you choose college students though?
Mm-hmm. So that's, like I said, I've just always wanted to teach at the university because of just understanding with social work, it's a technical science, to be able to talk with people, but it's more than just talking. It's about mental health and substance abuse. And so because it's so technical, everyone does it so differently, and we have a code of ethics to fall back on. And I had some amazing professors that really inspired me. But I also had some professors that, were not as helpful and were really, discouraging at points, and come to find out doing some questionable things themselves, ethically. And so I wanted to, get into the game to be able to, say, this is how you can be a social worker and be ethical and all the good things in life. And so that's kind of been my goal with coming into the university, like, to prep
Yeah.
the next generation of therapists and social workers.
That's very good. I thank you. I thank you. So do you have a favorite thing about Angelo State University?
There's a lot of things I like about Angelo State. I really enjoy my coworkers. I feel like the stereotypical thing to say as a faculty member, but it's so true, is like the students. Like,
Yeah.
I have other colleagues outside of Angelo State. They're like, oh man, these students, like, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, everyone has their own issues, but there are just so many students that, like, I just enjoy coming across and meeting with. Like, online students, in-person students. We just have a lot of really good students. I love the gym. I actually really enjoy the gym here.
I like the gym too. I don't like the windows though. I don't like that's the thing. Like anytime I walk past the gym or I'm in the gym and I like see people either inside or outside, like I try to like look down or like not make eye contact with them because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable and I don't want myself to feel uncomfortable. But no, I like the gym. I like the upstairs area.
The track.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that because sometimes it's just way too cold or way too hot. But I like the track too. It's nice.
Agreed.
So I know we were talking about this earlier, but since we were recording, what kind of classes did you have today?
Yeah, so today I had some online classes that I was taking care of. So I'm teaching, it's called Practice 3 for the bachelor program in social work. So it's like the final class that seniors take, and it's prepping them for licensure, and it's just our final exam. I have a class tonight for the master's program, correctional mental health. So teaching social workers how to work with those like in the criminal justice field. So like jails, prisons, that kind of population, specifically learning how to address mental health in that field.
Okay, that's good. How do you do night classes?
You know, it's one of those things where it's like I love the job and
Yeah.
wish I could change the time, but the passion of the job helps me push forward because I am not a night person.
Me neither.
I'm an exhausted pigeon. I'm not even an early, like a night owl or early worm. I'm an exhausted pigeon. I'm too tired for everything, but I love it.
Me too. No, I like go to sleep so early. And like even though like I'm young too, I'm just so tired. Like
Seriously.
it's even before like school or like before college, I guess. I've always just been sleepy. Like it'll hit like 9 or 10 p.m., which isn't really that early, but
still, like compared to like I hear like even some of my colleagues are like, yeah, I stayed up until midnight. I stayed here at the office until like 1 a.m. It's like I couldn't like
no.
I can barely survive.
Literally. But like the only time I'll actually like stay awake is if I have to finish homework, but other than that, I'm going to bed.
Seriously.
I'm too sleepy for this.
Yeah, seriously.
No, literally. So do you have like a specific goal for your students or yourself this semester?
The thing that I always try to bring into every course with I teach bachelor, master, and eventually I'll take on some doctorate classes, is I like the idea of being comfortable leads to competence. Because I think like within social work, there's so many like hard topics, substance abuse, mental health, domestic violence. Like those are kind of my passions of therapy. But we're so afraid of the topics because we either have our own past lived experiences or we don't want to offend. But then we also have this weird stigma of like, I have a question, but I don't want to seem dumb. So I'm not going to ask a question. And so I always try and tell students, like, it's not bad to ask questions because we're getting comfortable with the topic. So, and comfortability leads to competence. Like, I'm not going to judge your intelligence by this. So that's always my goal, is to make students comfortable to help them become competent.
Yeah, I feel like you've done that though. There are like some questions where I'm like, this is stupid. I like in my head I'm like, I probably shouldn't ask this. This is stupid. I can't remember, but I know there was like some times where I was in your class and I was like, should I ask this? Should I? And then we like move on to the next topic and I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. I think it was like a scenario that we did. I think
like the body language.
Well, wait. No, when was it? It was when we were trying to figure out like the place for the children and
the policy work.
Yes. I was like, wait, who's going to be taking care of these kids? That was like the first thing that came into my mind. I was like, where are these kids staying? Who's going to take care of them? But I was like, I probably shouldn't ask that. But honestly, I probably should have. But
No, good question, yeah.
no, yeah. So now I want to ask like some personal questions about you.
Perfect.
So what do you like to do in your spare time?
Yeah, so I do love to go to the gym. That's how I usually start or end my work day. But outside of that, I play games with my wife. Like we're big into Dungeons and Dragons.
I
So
always hear people talking about that.
it's pretty fun, and I used to not be into games. It wasn't until I met my wife and got to know her family, because my family, we had the rule like no games because of a bad incident with Clue. And
Oh, yeah, you
board games-
mentioned that, yeah.
Board games were ixnayed for my family.
No. Have you heard of the board game Sorry?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I've played it like a couple times, but I just end up getting upset.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, board games are just out of it. I like Uno.
Uno and Phase
so-
10.
What's Phase 10?
It's another card game,
Oh,
so
okay.
you have to like accomplish levels, but Uno and Phase 10.
No, I like
Golden.
Uno, but it's so time consuming.
That's true.
But no, yeah, that's very great. That's great. That's a great way to spend your spare time.
I also like to paint and rock climb.
Oh, rock climb? Oh, do you go to the rock climb?
So
at the...
no, because and this is so funny. My wife's like, it's not the wall that I like. We want a whole gym, like not just a wall.
Yeah.
Because like we like to do stuff like that. But
I understand that. They do have that really big one that goes like all the way to the ceiling.
it's really but even then, she's like, I want to like go to like Dallas because they have like huge gyms there for the rock climbing. So
Everything's better in Dallas.
right, there's a lot more opportunities.
There's so much more events. Is there anything else? Like, do you have any more like hobbies besides painting?
I have an old decrepit dog. His name's Timmy, so I love taking care of him.
I love dogs.
He's a little Shih Tzu. He's got the grumpiest
Shih
face.
Tzu.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, is he like white?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yep.
the cutest dogs.
Yeah, so love to play with him. Playing with my kids. Me and my boy like to go throw the football around. So just really anything that's good for me and my family. I just love enjoying.
That's so sweet. That is a good segue into our next question, though. How do you balance teaching and then also your family?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I share this, openly. It's something I used to be ashamed of, but now I'm trying to utilize it for up and coming social workers. Like boundaries. I had awful boundaries as a brand new therapist that led me through my field. Like I was not taking care of my family. I was very distant. Like I was working in the correctional field, and so was coming home emotionally burnt out. And so it's not that I was a bad husband or father. I just wasn't attentive. And it wasn't until one day that I got to work and saw my schedule, and I was like, man, I can't do this. Like I almost worked myself out of a job because I just wasn't taking care of myself. But I now have the balance, like when a certain time comes, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what I have left. It can wait till tomorrow. So I just have the boundary, my family's first. So it's just more the rule now. Family, then work.
That's sweet. That's good. A lot of people put work and then family.
Yeah, and it should be family first. Even if you don't have a family, put yourself before work, because when you're gone, work is going to go on.
Yeah.
If you neglect the things of life, you're going to miss out.
That's so sweet. You're a great social worker. This is like everything that I imagine a social worker would be.
Used to not be, and still trying to be better, but I appreciate that.
Of course. So, do you have any other ways that you like to relieve stress when everything just kind of gets too much? Or like
I
anything
journal a lot.
yes, I've been wanting to take up journaling actually.
Because the thing with social work is like there are just some things that like we're told to keep confidential, and of course I'm not writing down like specific details in my journal, but even like to go home and like tell my family like, oh man, like this thing happened at drug court today, or this client said this thing. I can't do that because of confidentiality.
Yeah.
But like being able to put that into a journal, like it's just a way to like let things out of my mind. It's like appropriate word vomit. My journal is a very sacred place for me.
That's very healthy. I want to try doing that. I feel like it would also help me a lot.
It's great. That was another thing that I implemented in that bad point in my life. Like I need to talk. but I can't talk.
Yeah.
But here's a way that I can talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like there's so many things I want to say. Like, I probably shouldn't say them. So I feel like journaling would just be so much more helpful.
Agreed. It is.
But we're going to get back into social work.
Perfect.
Did you have any other career options that you wanted to probably pursue before you chose social work?
Truthfully, it's always been something within therapy, because I even remember, like, and this is gonna make me sound like such a weird kid, but like as a kid, like I was like, I want to be a psychologist, like I want
that's so
I want to
cool.
help people. Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is I've just always felt like driven to help people. Like growing up, I did a lot of like community projects, community service, and I just loved helping people. And I served a mission for my church. And that's, like, where I really was like, I could do this, like, for the rest of my life. Like, I could just sit with people and help them and talk with them.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I got back from my mission that I realized, like, okay, like, social work. Like, I didn't even know. I just thought social work was child protection services, like CPS.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, social work is so much more than that. And so that just opened the door for me.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many, like, other, like, jobs there were that like were all social work, like in the clinic too, in like counseling for like at like schools. Like I did not know that was like part of social work, but like it all kind of makes sense now.
I use the analogy that social work is like the big pumpkin pie that your grandma makes. It could even be like the pie that you get from Costco, like the variety pie.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of everything. You know, the most important thing is you just get to eat the pie and you get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Find the slice that works for you.
I like that analogy. It helps me. So do you teach any other subjects besides social work?
I picked up the freshman seminar last semester in the fall, so trying to just like teach. So my freshman seminar was protection from burnout, hence going back to my whole thing of what I was talking about.
Oh, I wish I took that.
Right.
I took pseudoscience and media.
That still sounds interesting.
It was
too.
Cool. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was just like we learned. I forgot what we learned about, honestly.
That's okay.
But it was just fake science.
Yeah.
We learned about like cryptids, like mermaids and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I feel like I would have liked that subject more better though.
Yeah, it was a good segue into everything, because like teaching students like, hey, this is about Blackboard, and make sure you do your homework, because if you get too stressed out, this is what could be the eventual consequence of being too stressed out.
Yeah, I feel like that would have helped me much more. Because I didn't even know about freshman seminar until they told us, and it was, they didn't even I didn't even get any, like, confirmation from, like, anyone, like, in a position.
Yeah.
One of my roommates told me, like, oh, it's supposed to just help you in, like, life.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, how is pseudoscience going to help me?
Right.
I feel like that would have helped me much more. But... So besides the freshman seminar, it's just always been social work?
Yeah, social work. Like I said, bachelor's and master's. And I have some doctoral students I don't want to say supervise, but am like their advisor. So I work with them, but I don't have any doctoral classes yet. That will come with time, though.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Do you participate in any activities or organizations on campus?
No, I've been trying to attend the Student Social Work Association, but they meet on Sundays, and Sundays are my day with family. So, other than that, no. But if anyone wants to hit me up, I'd love to join some associations, help out as a faculty member.
Of course. Let's see. Did you participate in any, like, activities when you were in college? Like, any organizations or stuff like that?
Yeah, so I was part of my social work club at my university, and I thought that was awesome. One of the things that we did that I really loved was we did a Toys for Tot drive. So we gathered Christmas presents. You know, we went to Walmart and asked for, like, hey, would you be willing to go buy a $5 toy? And then we donated it to the local CPS center, and just helping sweet. Like kids in foster care system have a Christmas.
That's really sweet. That's so wholesome. Do you have anything that motivates you when you're feeling burnt out? Just your family?
My family's a huge part of it. I've also, and this is going to sound so cliche and sappy, but like I've learned to just love myself for my...
No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
No, it is good. And I'm not saying it's bad, but it sounds sappy because that's so popular. Like, love yourself. But it's so true. Like, if you love yourself, and like respect yourself, you're more likely to give yourself grace. Like, hey, today didn't go the way I wanted it to, but tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah, of course.
So my family and just learning to give myself grace has been the two biggest things that's helped me push through.
That's sweet. That's very good.
Also, my spirituality. I think that's a huge part, you know, and whether people are religious, because religion and spirituality are two different things.
Yes,
but
I agree.
having a spiritual identity that could lead to religion or could not, like that helps protect yourself too.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. I like spirituality, honestly. Personally, I'm not religious, but, you know, I do like the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah. It's a protection factor.
Yes.
And again, it doesn't have to be religious, but it's still important. And I think that's where, like, ultimately, like, we learn to give ourselves grace, is like saying ourselves, like, I am okay, even if I'm not perfect. Like, that connects to the spirituality of it.
It really, like, helps me a lot, much more than a lot of other things. Just, like, self-affirmation.
Exactly.
That's the word I was looking for. That seems to, like, help me much more than a lot of things. So what is your favorite area of social work to, I guess, participate in? I guess not really, like, teach, but yourself work in.
Yeah, my specialty is with corrections, so, like, the criminal justice field, correctional mental health. So, like, my background, for many, many years, I worked in treatment courts. So I was a supervisor for a drug court, a mental health court, juvenile court. I worked with some family courts and a veterans court. So when people commit a crime and they have either a substance abuse issue, a mental health disorder, or they're a veteran, they can apply for these treatment courts. And so I, like, lived in the intersection of treatment and the judicial systems, like going to courts with clients, like, weekly was, like, my life for many years.
Was that ever, like, scary, or did you ever, like, find any obstacles within that?
Yeah, and this is something that I talk about in my classes, and I'm doing, like, I'm not currently doing active research, but I would love to do some active research one day to kind of feed into the discussion. Criminals are just like us. Like, the thing that separates me from a criminal is, you know, the severity of a crime. Like, I've committed crimes, so has everyone. Like, I speed. Like, I sped here.
Me too. Me on the highway.
Right, exactly. But, you know, there are some people that take that speeding to the next level. They might drink and drive. They might do it in a reckless way, and that might be connected to a mental health disorder. And so helping students realize, like, the thing that separates us from those that we work with is just the severity, that we have similar identities.
Yes.
And so helping students and, you know, other professionals realize, you know, that's why we have to combat the bias that comes with, you know, how society views criminals, is that bias is going to continue to create a divide between us. And so that's where I would say my field, my perspective of social work is the more we can take out of the criminal justice bias perspective, the more we can do treatment, because that's really what people need. People just need help.
I agree. That's very sweet. And I feel like a lot of people who do bad things, they come from a bad household. So that's, like, mostly what they've learned from. Because I feel like children, when they're really young, like, they take in anything.
They do.
And they'll, like, make their own version of that from what they see.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. A lot of people, probably scary wasn't the right word, probably more like offensive word.
No, because scary even fits, though, because like the first time I had to go to a jail, like, I was like, okay, like, this is real, like, I'm here. But then, like, meeting the clients there and, like, having them say, like, I don't want to be here anymore, like, please help me get out. Like, I just realized, like, jail is what it is. It's a holding place, but it's more terrifying for the person in there, because I got to leave. They didn't.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of eye-opening to be like, okay, like, I can help them get out, you know, help explain to them this is what you have to do to get out. And once you're out, this is how we stay out of here.
Yeah. Like, a lot of them really just need help.
They do.
And I feel like not a lot of people really want to work with them, too. So that's really sweet that that's your favorite area of social work.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories that you would feel comfortable sharing from that area?
Yeah. The one that always comes to mind, this was one of my last clients that I worked with. And I have my Texas license, but I'm solely dedicated to teaching right now, so I don't have any clients down here. But my last client back in Idaho, a woman, very much addicted to alcohol. But it wasn't just, a biological response. It was more of a emotional response. Some very traumatic things happened to her, from childhood all the way up into adulthood. And so, we just did the full gambit, whatever word you want to put in, of therapy. We did some behavioral therapy. We did some cognitive therapy. We got into trauma therapy. We even got into, some creative arts therapy. Like, she did some art therapy.
Oh, yeah, I feel like that can really help.
And it helped her a ton because, the things that she couldn't vocalize, she was able to put into, like, her art.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's meaningful to look back because, like, I don't respond, but she'll message, and text me, and be like, hey, like, I'm doing really well. I haven't relapsed.
That's so sweet, though. That's sad that you can't respond, but, like, that's really sweet. I understand, like, why.
Yeah. And in the agency I worked in, like, I was able to use my personal cell phone. But now that I'm not her counselor, like, that's why it wouldn't be, or her therapist, that's why it wouldn't be appropriate. But it's so good to hear from her. She'll just, like, give me updates.
So sweet.
Plenty of cases that don't go that way. People who go back to the field and who, recidivize, go back to jail, reoffend. But I think with her, it's just been so meaningful to be like, okay, change is possible.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was the thing that made her change. She was just ready for it.
Yeah.
And I just got to be part of that journey with her.
That's so sweet. I'm glad she's doing well.
Yeah.
That's adorable. The little updates are so adorable. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that story with me. That's so sweet. I was honestly wanting something more sweet. I was scared for so this one time this guy like assaulted me and I was like, no.
I've got plenty of those stories, but for this situation, people can come talk to me on their own time. And I can share things.
Thank you for this sweet moment.
You're welcome.
But we are running up on the time. Okay. I do want to ask one more question though.
Please.
Do you have any advice you want to pursue for people who want to pursue social work as a career?
Yeah. Start practicing self-care and boundaries right now. Like, if you have issues with people, communicate that. Like, don't be aggressive, don't start swinging fists and elbows, trying to get your way, but communicate like, hey, like what you just said, really affected me. Can we work this out? Just because you can stay up till 2 a.m, doing schoolwork and doing homework, start to practice that self-care of, okay, it's 11 o'clock. I need to start winding down.
Yes.
And just be nice to yourself. I think, like, that's a good, like, cherry on top is if you're nice to yourself and you respect yourself, you're not going to let other people disrespect you. You're not going to let people walk all over you.
And then I also feel like you're not going to, like, also disrespect others. Because, like, you're like, this actually feels great. I'm going... to pursue this onto others. Yeah.
It's the easy looking in the mirror. Like, I feel this way. Other people must feel this way too.
Yeah, of course. But thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted you to be on here, but I have like 10 minutes between classes and I have to like speed walk.
Yeah, exactly.
I made the schedule for myself, but like still. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And that will end our episode. Thank y'all, and I will see y'all next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.